Madam Speaker, Dominica's housing sector was plagued with many issues immediately prior to the passage of Hurricane Maria on September 18, 2017. Foremost among these issues were the overcrowding, particularly in the low-income housing subsector, a large percentage of stock of low-income households, low to insignificant private sector participation in the provision of housing units, sites and services, ad hoc involvement of central government in home renovation and new small housing projects, inadequate monitoring of construction activities, poor construction techniques, high incidence of squatting on state lands, low levels of skilled and semi-skilled workers, shortage of suitable service housing land in larger settlements, and low level of affordable financing. Also, the high incidence of uninsured and underinsured properties in the national housing stock. Hurricane Maria caused catastrophic damage to the national housing stock. According to a building damage assessment commissioned by the government of Dominica following the passage of Maria, damage to the national housing stock, 30,000 units, was reported as follows. Destroyed, 18.4%. Major damage, 25.5%. Minor damage, 28.52%. And minimal damage, 26.7%. Hurricane Maria did not only cause extensive destruction, but also exposed the weaknesses in the sector. Central government response post-Maria to date, the government response to alleviating the housing crisis has been weak, selective, discriminatory, non-transparent, and costly. Key aspects of the current policy which are of concern are the following. Too short a period, 6 calendar months of duty-free concessions on imported building materials, politicization of the distribution of housing assistance, particularly building materials to those in need, a hands-off approach to increasing construction costs, lack of government intervention to alleviate a critical shortage of skilled and semi-skilled construction workers, assignment of no-bid public sector contracts to foreign companies contrary to law, and marginalization and non-involvement of local private sector participation in public contracts. Lack of transparency and assistance to affected or uninsured heads of households in rented properties, lack of a national housing sector development strategy, lack of stakeholder consultation in planning implementation of new housing projects, and ineffective use of land use planning and building control human resources. Notwithstanding the many weaknesses in the central government's response to the housing crisis post-Maria, Madam Speaker, the interventions of humanitarian organizations in housing on island are well planned, they're well managed and well executed. Going forward, the UWP considers housing to be the most pressing need facing Dominicans at present. Alleviation of the current housing crisis in the immediate, medium and long term is necessary for improving the confidence of resiliency and the quality of life of our people. To this end, the UWP will immediately, on assuming the office of government, implement the following. We'll commission a study to formulate the national housing strategy for Dominica. The terms of reference for this consultancy will include: 1, identification of existing housing areas in need of relocation, identification of suitable lands for their relocation. 3, in consultation with stakeholders, recommend solutions for new housing needs by settlement. 4, propose a package of incentives to encourage local private sector participation in the supply and financing of affordable housing to low and middle income households nationally and 5 proposed design solutions to provide renewable, efficient homes. Secondly, Madam Speaker, we will allow duty-free importation of building materials up to December 2019, reduce the value-added tax on building materials from 15% to 10%, subject selected building materials, lumber, plywood, galvanized steel windows to price control for a specified period, publicize government's policy for the equitable distribution of housing assistance to all deserving households, as well as establish district housing development control offices to manage the distribution of assistance and monitor the reconstruction in the construction sector generally. We will specify minimum qualifying criteria to providing housing assistance from a minimum of $5,000 to a maximum of $75,000 to all deserving qualified heads of households, homeowners, over a period of 6 months. We'll develop and implement a package of assistance to meet the housing needs of vulnerable groups, persons whose houses were completely destroyed by Hurricane Maria, homeowners whose hurricanes were damaged properties were not insured, seniors, low-income single parents, and the disabled. In consultation with Dominica's building, engineering, and architect societies, we will develop a program of intense training to increase the number of skilled and semi-skilled construction workers by at least 30% over a period of 6 calendar months.